365, we making up plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays.
All right, everybody, we are here. We are back. Oh, man. It feels so good to be back. It's been a long time. As y'all can see, I ain't got my hair done. I've been running. We got in late, a little like yesterday afternoon. Had to get to work, had to get the kids right. So I'm running tonight, but I had to get back to y'all because we got a bunch we have not talked about. So unfortunately, Chris is not going to be able to be on with us just yet. We're not going to be able to get into that disaster of a choke job by the Philadelphia Eagles. Way to go. Fly, Eagles, fly into the ground or the side of a building.
As I would say, the Chiefs got that Thanksgiving bird early.
Ow! All I seem to have heard is a bunch of sad birds crying and complaining about a little grab of the jersey. Cheaters never prosper. Okay? No such thing as halfway crooks. If you did the crime, you will do the time. Okay? You had a lead, you blew it. You had opportunities, you blew them. The Patty Mahomes train came through, and unlike in East Palestine, it was not derailed. Okay? It stayed on the tracks, and it ran on its way to the Super Bowl. Prayers to the people in East Palestine. It's actually a terrible situation they got going on.
100.
Hope the best as soon as possible. Heard there was another train derailment today. So if there's a train to be on, it's the Patty Mahomes train because he is taking it all the way.
Choo choo.
They were able to celebrate their parade. I think it was today. Patty Mahomes was feeling good, gave the Super Bowl trophy away.
That was yesterday. That was yesterday.
Sorry, I'm getting caught up in what days it is, but that's you pay the cost to be the boss, man. But let's get into it. We had a big game. Dev, what's going on? What did you think of the Super Bowl? I had to watch it at 2 a.m. because I was in Italy, so it was on the iPad. We were 6 hours ahead, so y'all do the math. I had to set an alarm to wake up just to watch it. But yeah, I'll let you get your thoughts out the way before I give the rest of mine.
Man, Super Bowl was almost everything that I thought it was going to be, man. The Eagles showed their hand early. Now, don't get me wrong. I was kind of riding with the Eagles. I felt like the Eagles defense was going to smother Patty Mahomes' train, as Ray was calling it. But Patrick Mahomes showed me that now since Tom Brady is gone, he is the next best thing now. You know what I mean? Most definitely. I want to talk about this holding call because I'm tired of hearing about it. I'm tired of the back and forth. And the rules of the NFL, yes, that is a holding. That is holding. Because out of that man route, he's tugging the man's jersey and he wrapped his waist. Now, as a fan, and as a person who also reads into the rules, that ball was well overthrown. I don't think there was no way that JuJu Smith was going to catch that. Even if he did catch it, I don't think he would have caught that inbound. And I do believe in the rule that if the ball is overthrown, it shouldn't be a flag. Now that's my only key about that holding penalty. But as far as my man Bradbury, he stood up to it. He said, "Yes, I held him. I got the flag. Should have been over with." But as far as Patrick Mahomes, he is now the quarterback. He is now the man. I believe he is now the face of the league now. There's no question about it. What he made 3 Super Bowl appearances in the last 4 years. two of them. He got two MVP, Super Bowl MVPs. He got two league MVPs. There's nothing else that you can really say. I don't think that neither one of us on this panel or any other panel can now count the Chiefs out the AFC West or out the AFC period now. They just showed us who they are. They are for real. Andy Reid is probably about to be one of the best head coaches of all time coming up soon. There's nothing else to be said. The Chiefs did what they supposed to do.
I understand all that. Here's my thing. If it's reversed, are Eagles fans saying the same thing? If AJ Brown gets held instead of JuJu, are we having the same conversation? The answer is no. Flat out no, especially not with their fans. The fact of the matter is you shouldn't have been in that position. You went into halftime up 10. You should have probably been up more. And you didn't get it done. So I didn't spend a lot of time on the holding call. Was it ticky-tack? Sure. Was it overthrown? Was it uncatchable? Possible. But y'all couldn't guard that play all game. So am I supposed to believe that all of a sudden that was going to be the thing and y'all was going to march down the field and win the game? No. Miss me with all that. I agree. This is the Patrick Mahomes era officially. I think it's been that way for probably like a year and a half. But it's solidified. With Brady gone, whether he comes back or not, which I hope he doesn't.
I doubt it. He signed the papers.
Yeah. So this is his era. And shout out to Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy, who, for the love of me, I can't understand why he can't get a real job. I don't understand why while Washington's even interviewing him. Like, what? Is there even a question on whether or not we should hire him? His resume speaks for itself. He should walk into an interview, put his resume on the table, and walk out. You don't need to ask me nothing. I'm proven in this. I'm true in this. Like, it's just absurd to me. And I just seen somebody post something about the truth about Eric Bieniemy, and they're bringing up some criminal stuff from 20 years ago. So is that what we're doing? Stuff from 2014 is the best you got? Like, this is corny. I don't understand what he did or who he pissed off in the NFL. We have clearly seen how these organizations can collude together to blackball people from positions that they don't see that they deserve. So I'm not going to entertain this as if it's some kind of happenstance or circumstance or coincidence that he can't get a job. But no, I'm very disappointed. And hold on, we got some Joe Burrow love. Let's see what we got. We got Joe Burrow about to make people forget about Burrow. I don't know what that means.
What did that mean?
Casey wouldn't even been there if Casey wasn't. The haters are going to hate. It's cool. It's cool. This is that time of year. As a Commander fan, I've had my share of time to hate, but at a certain time, you just got to appreciate greatness. It is what it is. San Fran lost all their quarterbacks, so Philly shouldn't have been there. Like, you can make a bunch of if, ands, or whats, or woulda, shoulda, couldas. The fact is, they was in the game.
The Ravens should have beat the Bengals then. We should have took them to overtime. You know what I mean? Without second string quarterback. So it's a lot of what ifs. And Tom Brady, what if Tom Brady would have made this announcement that he was going to retire in the beginning of the season? Was the Bucs going to win the season, win the Super Bowl?
Maybe they play different. Yeah, I mean,
it's a lot of maybes.
We got some smoke for the Ravens. I ain't gonna lie, y'all better figure out your quarterback situation. Because if you think Tyler Huntley, the Pro Bowler, is the answer, I think y'all sadly mistaken. And y'all I think you need to figure out what you're doing with your quarterback if you want to try and bring a receiver there finally. If you want to get help.
I don't think a receiver is going to actually come if we don't even try to solidify a quarterback. If we don't put like this, there's no receiver coming to Baltimore if Lamar Jackson's not going to be here.
And ladies and gentlemen, I just have a quick breaking news announcement. Gervonta Davis, who recently had a fight and has a fight upcoming with Ryan Garcia, allegedly, has pled guilty in his hit and run case in Baltimore. He will be sentenced on May 5th. He pleaded guilty this morning to 4 counts stemming from his hit and run accident in November 2020. He will be sentenced on May 5th. Davis is still expected to face Ryan Garcia on pay-per-view April 15th in Las Vegas. They have still not finalized it, but they are looking for an official announcement for a 12-round, 136-pound fight is imminent. I'm not going to get into all the details of the accident. You can read those on your own. But they do not say the plea agreement, which would have required Davis to serve 60 days of unsupervised home confinement, was rejected, that plea deal, and ordered a trial, largely because of the testimony of the woman who drove the Toyota. So they rejected that deal. So if they weren't willing to meet on the 60 days, I'll be curious to know what his sentencing is. But yeah, we'll have to keep up to date. But it looks like we're clear to go. Ryan Garcia, Tank Davis should happen based on him getting the court situation situated here and him obviously not being sentenced before the potential date of April 15th. So that's exciting. It's exciting. And we've seen that even when he has legal trouble, he still can perform. So hopefully, this is the last we'll have to hear of this kind of stuff from this individual. I have and remain a huge fan, but my God, bro, you gotta make some different decisions. And this was a long time ago, so I'm not gonna kick him too much while he's down, but hopefully he can put this behind him, move on, and live a long, fruitful, bountiful career because the talent is unmatched.
I'm gonna kick him right down a little bit. Baltimore to Baltimore, man. Come on, man. This should have been handled 3 years ago. This should have been handled. You know what I mean? Just the same way as quick as that domestic violence case was handled. You know what I mean? Or his situation. Not gonna say case. The situation was handled quick, fast, in a hurry. And I think this should have been handled quick, fast, in a hurry. And I really hope that doesn't messes with his career. I hope it doesn't messes with the pay-per-view match coming up because we all know, man, one small thing can derail your career. And you know what I mean? I really hope that this can just be over with, you know what I mean, as fast. Because like I said, this was carrying on way too long because it got to the point that like every fight we was asking, you know, when is this hit and run going to come back up? You know, stuff like that. And then, you know, it's in your hometown. You know what I mean? So you know with all the stuff that's going on around here in the state of Maryland that they was gunning for anybody that's a high profile and somebody they can, you know, tax a little bit. So, you know, I'm just glad that this situation is finally going to come to an end, but this should have been over 2 years ago.
Yeah. I think the domestic thing was because she just chilled out. It seems like in the article I was just reading, the reason this isn't going away is because somebody won't chill out. It sounds like the other driver didn't want the payout. I'm imagining somebody went to them and like, hey, let's make this go away. And it was like, nah. Right. So him pleading guilty, I'm sure will help the civil case. As far as that settlement, I'm sure there will be a nice settlement that's going to get paid out. Right. So hopefully, like I said, this can all get wrapped up here shortly, and he can move on with his career. And speaking of people moving on,
speaking of salty,
oh, man. I wish y'all could see my face. I haven't smiled for more than a minute since the first quarter of the Super Bowl.
Hey, we already know you got that Jordan.
That was a good first half.
You got that Jordan meme face right now. That's why you got this picture up.
You should have saw me in the hotel watching the game.
No, I'm glad I wasn't near you. I don't think I can sit there and hold you on my shoulder crying, man.
Nah.
But we had it. We had it.
Oh man. Roller coaster of emotions that game was. Roller coaster of emotions.
Emotional damage.
Yes, indeed. So we have our resident Eagles fan, the only team represented on this show that made it. Also the only team that lost in the Super Bowl.
Wow.
So, as a Commanders fan who beat the Eagles once this year,
Is that like a personal attack or something?
That's what I'm saying. Like, was that y'all Super Bowl?
I mean, y'all didn't win y'all, so we won ours. If that's how we're gonna go.
If we're counting a regular season game as a Super Bowl, man, your franchise is in a lot of damage.
I mean, I'm just saying, neither one of us won the Super Bowl. So, from where I'm sitting, y'all just like us.
But Bev, I expected a different type of energy from Ray. He came back shots fired.
Oh, congratulations!
What was that? What you expect? Humility?
I don't know what you was expecting, Chris, but this is what I was expecting. As soon as you said I am on, I was like, you shouldn't have told Ray that. You should have just popped on. You know what I mean?
I still ain't been able to give Kenny his smoke. He's been running for months now.
Nah, don't bring my man Kenny into this, man.
I'm just saying, NFC East, we here, baby.
I say this: Kenny hasn't been running from the smoke, but he could come back on the show in May. He's still gonna get talked about the Cowboys.
Oh, yeah.
I have it written down in my notes, word for word, what I'm gonna say to Kenny. Can't wait to talk to you, my brother.
Because we back NFC East, baby. We tied for first, baby. We right back, baby. We just need a quarterback, baby.
You need a
y'all about to get Greg Roman down there.
If we would go ahead and hire the offensive coordinator that's sitting in our face and then elevate him to coach, because our current coach is not a good head coach, we'd be all right.
Y'all gonna get Greg Roman.
Exactly.
Man, that would be so fitting for us to do something dumb like that. Derek Carr's out there. I am open to going to get him, but I would rather wait on Lamar. And see what happens, because apparently Baltimore.
I'll be honest, there's going to be a lot of Baltimore fans that switch to Washington if Lamar go to if he goes over there to the Commanders. I'm telling you,
won't be me.
Not that far of a drive.
Won't be me.
Oh, I know, brother. I know you.
It's okay.
You're not like some past people on ASAP that switch teams. We know.
We do. We definitely know that there's some flip floppers, but we don't do that here. We stand in it. We stand on it. So I'm excited going into next year. I was pleasantly surprised by the team. The management still sucks, so
owner still suck.
Yeah, that's all bad. So this is my chance to pick my head out the dirt again, look up, see how feel the sunshine on my face, and it's a good day to be a Commander fan, because I'm like everybody else except the Chiefs. So forget y'all. But yeah, Chris, we kind of got into our takes a little bit. You mentioned how excited you were early on, not as excited late. Was Philly robbed? Is the question. Was Philly robbed?
I'll say this is definitely team no excuses over here, because we had every opportunity to win this game. That's like, we're not going to say if this call was different, we would have won, because Philly had the lead. We had every opportunity, and our defense let us down. But I will say this.
I ain't going to say the defense. They let y'all down, but that's not who to blame. That's not the first person I'm blaming.
Who's the first? Well, let me finish this, and I'm going to ask you the first person you're blaming.
All right.
I'll say this. Jalen Hurts played an awesome game. Devontae Smith catch was a catch. What else? That PI was bogus. And yeah, those are only my two complaints. That catch was a catch, and the PI was bogus. Other than that,
was Goddard's catch a catch?
Yes. Absolutely.
Was the fumble that was not called a fumble?
Absolutely. I'm honest. I thought that was a fumble.
Okay, just trying to see what the scale is.
No. I'm honest. I really thought that was a fumble.
Okay.
But if I had to blame somebody outside the defense, I think Miles Sanders had a terrible game.
It ain't his fault.
I'm not blaming him. This is not blame. I'm just saying, game-wise, Miles Sanders, for some reason, he just had a bad game. But who are you blaming, Dev? Curious.
The guy who left y'all offensive coordinator.
Oh yeah, 100%.
He showed y'all hand the first quarter. He showed everything that what the Eagles was going to do throughout that whole first quarter. And I told my wife, because she was rooting for the Chiefs, and I was rooting for y'all. And I was like, I don't know now. I feel like the Eagles are showing their whole game plan. They came out firing, throwing haymakers, and the Chiefs never budged. You know what I mean? So I want to say the offensive coordinator because he never adjusted to the Chiefs defense. Never. He just let the Chiefs defense dictate whatever it wants. Because it's miraculous how y'all defensive line was turning down offensive lines throughout the whole postseason.
Oh my
And
goodness.
miraculously, y'all defensive line didn't show up, but y'all offensive line was no good.
They did nothing.
So when y'all say y'all are blaming, because this is I think we need to pump the brakes a little bit.
No, I'm not really blaming, but
let's not act like there was a significant impropriety in experience in coaching in this game.
Oh no,
Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy been here a long time.
You're right. You're right. But at the end of the day, coaches are held to a certain standard. So you're not going to have a dominant season, get there in the Super Bowl, and have some questionable play calls and think, oh, it's okay, you don't have the experience. No, I'm going to hold you to the standard that I'm holding every coach at this type of caliber game. But, I mean, listen, like I said, there's no excuses because we had every opportunity to win this game. There were bad calls being played. There were bad plays. In general, Philly has nothing to do but look in the mirror and blame themselves. Because when you have a double-digit lead, and then I say this, we talk about defense. If you have a quarterback which, quote-unquote, has a hurt ankle, because he didn't like he had a hurt ankle running that 40-yard gasher on us.
He wasn't hurt. He was filled with he got hit with that adrenaline shot.
You know, there's some other things, but we're not going to talk about that here on ASAP. But if I have a quarterback
test the next day,
yeah. If I have a quarterback with a messed up ankle, I'm rushing him from the inside. All my blitzes are coming from the inside, make him roll out the pocket and put pressure on that ankle. We were just giving him wide open running lanes. Like the defense really let me down. As much as you say, you don't want to play defense, you want to talk about offensive coordinator. This is one of the top 3 defenses in the league. A team that has 70 sacks going into the postseason. And where was this ultimate dominant defensive line? They were non-existent. So that is my biggest issue with the Philadelphia Eagles defense. All in all, like I said, no excuses. We had ample opportunities to win this game. But if I had one regret, it'd be that defense.
My only reason why I say I'm putting on the offensive coordinator is because I felt like he did what the Buffalo Bills had did with Josh Allen all year. And it's put the game all on Jalen Hurts. I don't feel like Miles Sanders was having a decent postseason. So why not run him like how y'all was running him in the previous game? Yeah. That was my only downfall as far as the offensive coordinator. I felt like you put Jalen Hurts to be like, hey, I need you to do every possible thing for us to win. Instead of how the Eagles got there. They got there through the team chemistry, the efficiency on defense. Jalen Hurts making the smart plays and not trying to do everything by himself. I just felt like the offensive coordinator switched the whole game plan up and he showed it early and it was like, this is all going to be on Jalen Hurts. Because
I say this about Miles Sanders. Miles had a slow start, and that's when you started seeing Gainwell get most of the carries. But, I mean, you're right. We only had 17 carries from our running back. Jalen Hurts had 15. Miles Sanders had that slow start in that first half, and we started going with Gainwell. But I'm with you. It should have been a lot more running. If I was the Eagles, I would have ran a lot more.
If we up on double digits, why not run it? You know what I mean? I'm trying to shoot the clock out. That's why I heard the
reason why the 49ers lost to the Chiefs 2-3 years ago. They wanted to stop running and doing play actions and wanted to pass. And when you pass against a team like the Chiefs, that's what they want you to do. They want to be in a shootout with teams because that's their forte.
Mm-hmm. So this is my question for you guys.
One more thing. If Jalen Hurts didn't fumble and they didn't take that to the crib, it was gonna be a blowout. I wouldn't say blowout. You talk about a play that changed the game for the Chiefs because we was gonna score on that drive. Oh yeah, that changed the game for them, 100%.
And that was actually going to be my question.
Okay.
Was how important was that for everybody that is hyping and giving Jalen Hurts a lot of love, which I am one of those people.
Mhm.
I think it is fair to say what you just said. If he doesn't make that mistake,
Mhm.
I think the game's different. And I
100%.
know he had 4 total touchdowns,
Yeah.
but it's not about always what you do, it's when you do it.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the momentum changed. I think everything changed with that fumble. And
Well,
Kansas City went into the half knowing they was about to get the ball feeling completely different than they were as Philly was walking down that field before that fumble.
I see what you're saying, but we went in and scored right after that. So he answered.
He
He
did.
answered. You're right. You like you
I'm
said.
talking about Kansas City state stance
Yeah.
where they were. Because after that, they was just different. That offense hit a different gear from almost that point on.
I just think they
And
was trying to make Jalen Hurts make up from that turnover. You know, they were just trying. Like I said, they just try to draw. They Josh Allen. They say you go out here and you do everything. You know
they
what I
did.
mean?
And I'm good with that. I think this is a great experience for all of them in Philly. I like a lot. My issue is I watch a lot of NFC East football, so I watch a lot of players that are good, and I like a lot of players. I'm a huge Hurts fan. I liked AJ Brown. I loved what he had to say after the game to JuJu, which we'll get to in a minute.
Well, I can't wait to get to that.
We can actually touch that next because that was we're there.
We
He don't
already
need to be
there.
back in Kansas City. Like you didn't learn the lesson. Like you got ran out of Pittsburgh because you was doing clown behavior. You watched your predecessor Antonio Brown get kicked out the league for clown behavior. You know you was on a 1-year rental because of your clown behavior. And so you take this opportunity to take away from a great game and from great sportsmanship by being a little troll because you're like 6 years old. Like grow up, dog. You picking at the wrong one. That Eagles defense was historic this year. Like you wasn't him for real. You was a role player. You played a role, and he did play well in the Super Bowl. But people like that just annoy the heck out of me, dog. Like if Pat Mahomes and Travis Kelce want to pop off, they can pop off. You can't pop off. You can take you and your weak Corvette somewhere else because that team is not here for distractions. They got Tyreek Hill up out of there and won a Super Bowl. So if you think you are irreplaceable like Beyonce, you wrong.
Yeah, you must not know about me.
So I hope somebody get with him, and I know that the Kansas City Chiefs Nation, like they're a very supportive group and community. But you can find another JuJu. Let's be abundantly clear, and that's just corny to me. I wasn't a fan of it at all, but that's just my 2 cents. Dev, he is the winner of the Super Bowl, so technically all is fair. What was your thoughts?
This is another case of a DB getting picked on again. You know, a couple years ago was what Eli Apple. You know what I mean? Now it's this guy. But as far as JuJu, man, I'm with y'all. JuJu, number one, when you think of during that Pittsburgh era, JuJu was the little guy that was coming to practice on a bike. You know what I mean? He was, and the reason why JuJu people loved JuJu in the beginning because it was how humble he was, how he had the promising future. He was a likable guy, and so on and so on. But then social media is almost like I guess you could say the devil. You know what I mean? Because once you get on social media, you feel like you're untouchable. You feel like like you said, you're irreplaceable. You just feel different, and you go on there, and that's what JuJu really gets his fame from. It's not really from football. You know what I mean? It's really from TikTok. From what I'm hearing, that his dog has an agent. Yes, Lil Roof has an agent. So that lets me know that if he falls out of football, his dog will still have a job before him. So that lets me know that football is not his last calling. You know what I mean? He's not going to be the guy, one of the great wide receivers of all time. he already showing you that he's not. Now, as far as the trash talking and all that, I'm cool with the trash talking, but the man owned up to the call. You know what I mean? It's not funny. It would have been funny if he was denying, like, oh, I didn't held them. I didn't do this. They shouldn't have threw the flag on me. Then the little Valentine's thing might would have been a little bit funny. But to a guy that says, yeah, this happened, I got called, I should have been called, it's not funny. And I'm glad AJ Brown came to his defense. You know what I mean? It's like, dog, you was almost the forgotten guy. If it wasn't for the Chiefs saying, hey, we'll take him because we lost Tyreek Hill, honestly, what team did anybody think that JuJu was going to be on this year?
Nobody. Like you said, if Tyreek Hill did not leave Kansas City, JuJu right now would be an unsigned free agent. If anything, he would go to a team that all the receivers got hurt and they needed somebody. He'd probably be with the Rams, if anything. With the
Rams, sorry, Kenny, maybe the Cowboys, because during that time they was looking for, replacement after they got rid of Amari Cooper. So he probably would have landed somewhere, but it probably wouldn't have been a championship team. So I think JuJu need to go back to being the humble guy and be grateful that a team like Kansas City, a championship caliber team, was willing to take a chance on you. Because honestly, the Chiefs could have took anybody. The Chiefs could have put themselves in the bid for OBJ. You know what I mean? T.Y. Hilton finally got a job. Josh Gordon is about to go to the XFL. He was looking for a job. So, you know what I mean? It's number of people that I feel like that can still get a job over JuJu. And if JuJu really wants to take football seriously, man, he going to have to do way better. And TikTok is not the answer. And, social media is not his answer. I think he most definitely going to have to put the grind in that in between the lines.
For sure. Chris?
The funny thing is, all JuJu had to do was not say one word, and he was going to get praised this year. Not only did he play a great Super Bowl, but he was the second best receiver on this Kansas City team. Consistently. Yeah. I looked it up just because that's what I was thinking, but I looked it up. Make sure, it wasn't a fluke in the Super Bowl. He was consistent all year. Mm-hmm. He wanted to open his mouth. And to Dev's point, Bradbury said he held him. He didn't deny it. So for JuJu to come out and say something, he had to get checked. And what is the response? Because everybody in the league, even Kansas City, knows it's the truth. JuJu knows it's the truth. Like, you had the first 2 years of your career, you was booming. You was off to a great start. And then all of a sudden, your numbers and your play and your action just started trickling down to the point where it's like JuJu, like
Cincinnati was calling that number multiple times.
Yeah, he might not even be top 30 anymore. So it's like, listen, he had to get humbled, and his comments were not needed because that was the all-time Super Bowl. And so for JuJu, all people, not Travis, not Pat Mahomes, hell, not even Pacheco, say something. JuJu, the last person that should be talking. Take your Super Bowl ring. He should be doing what Melvin Gordon doing right now. Nothing but celebrating. Nothing but celebrating.
He asked that man, what was the difference? I ain't do nothing.
I didn't even know Melvin Gordon was on the Chiefs.
Me neither.
I surely didn't. But he got his ring.
Go ahead, be the next Shady McCoy.
Hey, man.
Shady gonna walk into that Hall of Fame one day.
He was at least Melvin Gordon was 100 when they asked him what was the difference.
and that's what you want, man. That's my biggest thing. Like, this was a great game. Frank Clark's interview after the game was really touching. Pat Mahomes' dad. I'm glad I heard a lot more from Pat Mahomes' dad and not his brother. I ain't heard as much from Jackson.
Oh, you didn't see the TikTok?
You ain't see the TikTok where Jack was while Patrick Mahomes was doing the interview. Jack was behind him doing the TikTok.
Yeah, I did hear about that. Again, I was watching the Super Bowl at like 3 a.m. in Italy, so I was not staying for the post game or none of that. I went back to sleep. I think I had to fly to Paris the next day. We flew out Monday, so yeah, it was tough turnaround. But Overall, shout out to Kansas City. They got it done. They figured it out. Shout out to Eric Bieniemy. I think the biggest takeaway for me was coaching. I think we saw a second half adjustment on Kansas City's defense to figure out and slow down Philly's offense. And I think we saw Kansas City adjust on offense, and Philly couldn't stop them. And there were some plays here and there, but the biggest takeaway for me is Philly let 2 walk-in touchdowns happen on the same exact play and gave up pass interference on the third. Y'all couldn't figure out how to guard that play.
Nope. You want to know why?
That's coaching.
Philly went man, and Kansas City had so many different plays. Well,
but that's play recognition, and that's coaching.
Yeah, that's
to know that what defense you're going to get and what kind of situation, and to have something to attack it. And they had the perfect play to attack it. And nobody in Philly was able to figure that out and alert until it was too late, and the best y'all got was a hold. Like, that to me is coaching. That to me is preparation. That to me is not panicking. I got a hurt quarterback. We're down 10 at halftime, and it could be worse, to Chris's point. Had we not got that fumble, your mentality could be, man, we barely glad to be here, or we're right where we want them. And now we about to see how they handle the pressure. And Kansas City came out in the second half and walked right down the field. And it was a game. And then they came right back and took the lead. And the rest is history. So shout out to the Eagles and their organization. The city of Philly has been tough. MLS, tough. World Series, tough. Super Bowl, tough. We'll see about the finals. But yeah, ultimately, very good Super Bowl. Glad I stayed up for it. NFL is in great hands at the quarterback position. A lot more young brothers is about to get paid. Jalen Hurts, hey, yesterday's price is not today's price. So we was talking about Baltimore having to pay their quarterback. Philly, the price just went up. I think Devontae, I don't know if he got paid yet. So y'all got some people y'all got to figure out how y'all going to figure that situation out as well. I think Gainwell might be on his rookie deal too. So
yeah, Gainwell, he's still on his rookie deal, but I don't see Miles Sanders coming back to Philly.
Well, that sounds good until you want to solely rely on Tony Pollard and you break his leg. So
I mean, we got 2 running backs right now. You're right, but we got 2 running backs right now and could possibly draft a third. I don't see us overpaying for Miles Sanders. Love him.
I mean, I think there's going to be a market for running backs for sure.
Of course.
Oh yeah, I think the running backs going to get paid this year, and I think Josh Jacobs is going to lead the way.
Oh yeah, Josh Jacobs is getting that bag.
So if you're Josh Jacobs and you're looking at the market, you obviously want to get paid. I would like to believe you want to win. Where should you look?
Well, who needs a running back right now?
Let's look at teams.
Buffalo. Let's go to Buffalo. Go to Buffalo. That's all really Buffalo, except for the edge rusher and a true running back. I think that's what Buffalo is just kind of really missing.
As a running back.
I did not think Buffalo off the top of my head, but I do really like Buffalo. I was thinking Dallas. I think Dallas makes a lot of sense for me.
But I think they're gonna wind up signing Zeke back to
they bet not
to a 1-2 year deal. I swear, because he already came out and said that he'd take low to come back.
Yeah, what else are you gonna say?
No.
I ain't taking no pay cut. Yeah, okay. You're gonna find yourself where JuJu is about to find himself. You better keep your mouth shut and take what they give you. But I think
Dallas is a good fit. I can see.
I think there's a lot. I think there's a lot of options when you're as talented as he is. Minnesota, we'll see if they want to continue that Dalvin Cook experiment.
They need to go ahead and get rid of that Cousins experiment.
The top running back in the NFL.
Who?
Dalvin Cook.
Top. What?
Hold on, Ray. He is. I think he might be in that top 5 rushing yards.
I didn't put a number on it. I just said a top running back.
I think he's in the top 5 in rushing yards, if I'm not mistaken.
Dalvin Cook, don't get it twisted. Healthy Dalvin Cook is one of the. He's a top 6.
You said a very key word there. That was a big H word.
Healthy. I said the word healthy. 100%.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's why I didn't put a number on it. That's why I didn't put a number on it.
At some point, if you believe you are a contender and you're in this window
I mean, he played every game this year and
And
was
what-
top. It was top 6 in rushing.
And what happened?
It's his fault they lost.
I didn't say that. I just asked what happened.
I mean, they do what the Vikings do every year. Him being healthier wasn't no difference.
So then you're making my point. So why are we keep doing the same thing?
So what's the difference of him and Josh Jacobs? It won't be no difference.
I don't know, but I know Josh Jacobs is different.
Okay.
That's all I know.
Okay.
I said Josh Jacobs to start the game. We was talking about the 3 positions, and we was talking about running backs. Yeah. I know what I said and how I feel about Josh Jacobs. I know what I see in Dalvin Cook.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Arizona.
Who?
Arizona.
I would never. Who would? Why would you go there?
I ain't going there.
We naming teams that need running backs. I thought.
Yeah, we are, but I ain't going there. They got a quarterback that's we don't know the timetable on that. They got a new a new head coach. Nah, I ain't going there yet.
Would you go to the Jets? How do the Jets like their running back situations right now?
Nah, they got like 3 running backs. They got
they got like 3 running backs.
They got a couple people.
All right, just name a team.
You gotta think about when Bruce Hall come back from his injury. You know he gonna be ready.
Forgot about Hall.
So there's another team in New York though that has a running back that needs to get paid. Which one are you paying?
They pay Saquon after this year.
If I'm the Giants, I think they're going. If I'm the Giants, I think I would stick with Saquon because I know what I'm getting. I already seen. Ain't that mine? Because now I'm about to start fighting to my own argument. Oof. I would stay with Saquon if I'm the Giants.
100%.
You have an opportunity to go get Josh Jacobs for similar money, and you're saying you're going to stick with Saquon.
100%.
Y'all true. And that's
like I said. Don't get me wrong. I'm a Josh Jacobs fan, but
that is foolish. We had 1 good year of Saquon. And you are going to pass on potential.
I said we got 2. We got 2 good years. We got his rookie year. We got his rookie year. He showed us, and this year was his comeback. I guess you can say. Because I give him 2. I give him 2. I can't.
So if you're the New York Giants looking at the landscape of the NFC East, you are going forward with Daniel Jones and Saquon. That's the tandem we're going with.
So you would go with Daniel Jones and Josh Jacobs?
If I have free cap space to go get, I would much rather have Derek Carr and Josh Jacobs over Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley.
Now, you didn't say the Derek Carr situation. Now you cheating. Now you putting the extra door. You put the extra door. We were talking running backs.
I'm saying you got to look at the whole picture. You got to look at the whole picture.
Yeah. See now the things change. If the Giants can get Derek Carr too, because I feel comfortable with Derek Carr handing me off. Who's been handing me the ball off for the last 3 years? Of course,
you're not paying no receivers. Well, I guess you are still paying Galladay. They got to get off that deal somehow. But you ain't really paying nobody else at those 2 positions, so the money is there. It's just how you want to distribute it.
But I don't think Derek Carr gonna move until that whole Aaron Rodgers debacle.
Yeah.
And what's being discussed right now?
What's that, Chris?
What's being discussed right now?
Well, we started off with running backs, but now he threw Derek Carr out there. He said, if you the Giants, would you sign Derek Carr and Josh Jacobs over Saquon and Daniel Jones?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, see, Ray didn't throw that monkey wrench in the beginning. You know what I mean? He threw it in when it was convenient for him. He said, "Hold on, let me drop this in there real quick."
I mean, but we talking about Ray.
You ain't gonna Kenny me today, Ray. I'm on you, man.
We talking about Ray.
I advanced the conversation. We had a simple general conversation. So I said, okay, so y'all want to take Saquon? Would you take Saquon and Daniel Jones? And y'all said no. So I'm just asking. I'm just trying to see where y'all at. Y'all be saying some crazy stuff on here. That's all.
Like you don't be saying crazy.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I be right.
Oh,
do you really? All the time.
Hey, DeAndre Hopkins, holla at us. Get out of there. It's cool over here. AJ gone. Kyler never really been there. He don't study. You ain't got no coach.
Oh my goodness!
Hey, you keep on bringing that studiness up, man.
I just know what I watched.
That man studies
How to play
Call of
video
Duty.
games.
Call of Duty.
And I like Call of Duty. I was flying back. Dude was flying with his PlayStation. He had this super suitcase for his PS5. I would never travel with something so valuable. But, you know, to each his own. Some people really live that life. Let's get to it. Let's get straight to it. Eric Bieniemy still has no job. He's getting coordinator positions again. This is like the fourth summer or off season we're having to have this conversation. Chris, what's wrong with Eric Bieniemy?
It has to be something that is like it has. I don't want to sound like
let me ask the second part. Does he know what's wrong with him? Because he keeps interviewing. Also,
I don't know. Like it must be some secret conspiracy theory that only owners. It's something that the public doesn't know. And I'm saying that jokingly because I really don't understand why this man doesn't have a head coaching job. He's a 2-time Super Bowl winning offensive coordinator in the past 5 years. He's shown that he can go out and put a great product on the field. I do not understand if I'm a team like the Texans or the Colts that need a young or that need a young quarterback. Why am I not contacting even Arizona? I don't understand why Eric Bieniemy is not being contacted. It's upsetting. It's frustrating. And they're like somebody has to come out and be the one that says, what's the secret reason why Bieniemy isn't being hired? Because at this point, I think it has to be something more than race. It must be something in the past that only certain people. It has to be something because I don't understand why he's not being hired. And at this point, if I'm Andy Reid and the Chiefs, it's to the point where if you really care, I would say, listen, this guy right here could be a head coach in the NFL. Because I don't understand why he's not being hired. It's frustrating, and I'm going to keep repeating myself because somebody needs to tell me why this man is not a head coach. Because I see guys getting hired after they perform terrible. I see guys getting hired that don't have a quarter of his resume. Somebody tell me why. Not everybody who hires is going to be a Shanahan. Not everybody who hires is going to be a Sean McVay. I think everybody wants those two guys when only one of them won a Super Bowl. Why nobody want to be enemy? He won 2. And it's proven that he can win with any quarterback. He's proven that he can put together a great game plan. So somebody tell me why this man does not have a head coaching job. And when they give me that answer, I'm probably not going to like it anyway.
Yeah, I definitely agree on that. I don't know. I feel like it's almost a joke at this point. I personally feel like it's beneath him, but what do you do if you're him? You stop interviewing, like then you're definitely never gonna get a job. It's an unenviable position. I believe he's in. I am really happy that the Kansas City organization has, stood by him and stood up for him through all this. I don't necessarily think it's Andy Reid's job to retire to make way for him either. The same way I don't think it was Pop's job to retire to lead the way for I forget the chick's name that went to the Las Vegas Aces. But it's not necessarily a coach in waiting situation. Like I'm still up.
What's her name? Becky Hammond.
Becky Hammond.
I can't remember her last name.
Yeah, I think it was Becky Hammond.
Becky Hammond, that's what it was.
So I just don't think it's that. I think Andy Reid is still coaching at a premier level. The talent is there. The window is still wide open. They got the Mahomes deal done. They got the Kelsey deal done. They got the Chris Jones deals done. So they don't really got to pay nobody. Pacheco's still on his rookie deal. JuJu and Valdez, Scantling, and all them was on 1-year deals.
They free agents. Once the New Year League start.
And guess what? They are replaceable. I don't care. OBJ can be JuJu. I don't care what you tell me. Like you can replace a lot of those individuals. And I was just reading with the new general manager, they're trying to trade DeAndre Hopkins. And because of his suspension, his no trade clause got voided. So they can send him wherever they want. And he's set to make $20 million. So we'll see where he ends up. But I just, like I said, I think Chris, you weren't on. The fact that Washington is interviewing him, like, why are we even interviewing him?
Well,
like,
what does he need an interview for?
Right? Like, give him the job. Did you see our offense last year?
That's why I really think there's something behind the scenes that the public doesn't know why this man has not been hired.
Well, can somebody tell him that? And can y'all tell us that so we don't have to keep wasting our time on this? Because it don't make any sense as it currently stands. And if it's his criminal history from 2004, like, and I don't want to go on Andy Reid, but they had some other issues on their coaching staff. Like what are we doing? Like, these are not high ethical people. Like, I'm sick of it. Get a man what he deserves, what he's earned. He should have the opportunity. And maybe he will fail. Like a whole bunch of other people failed, like Cliff Kingsbury failed. Like,
Epic fail.
like, what are we talking about here?
I got like one explanation maybe why he doesn't have a job. Because I'm starting to think that Eric Bieniemy doesn't want any job. It's starting to come to me like if it's not a contender, if it's not a contender, he don't want the head coaching job. He don't want to be that statistic guy that goes to a Houston Texan, or Indianapolis Colts, any of these teams, and you're set up to fail. So why try to take a job that you automatically, set up to fail? That's like the only reason that I can see him not being the head coach on his part. As far as everything else, because we seen D'Amico Ryans get a job after he did a stellar job with the 49ers. We didn't see now Bron Flores got a defensive coordinator. Big shout out to him. Big shout out to the Vikings for doing that also. So it seems like it has to be Eric Bieniemy that doesn't want to take these jobs now. You know what I mean? Because even with these Bacon's head coaching job, we didn't really see his name being tossed out there. So in my opinion, I would think it's him saying, "Oh no, I don't want to do no Houston Texans, or I don't want to do the Arizona Cardinals job. I feel like that's not going to show my best case. You know what I mean? Y'all wanting me to fail. That's like the only thing I can really see from him not taking these jobs, or these jobs are not being offered, because I don't know how much longer you really want him to be a coordinator now. It's almost time to see what can he do. How can he run his own team now under him being the top dog now. But I just think it's him, honestly, saying that he's picking and choosing of the teams that he might want to head coach, and so far none of the teams sound appealing to him.
I hear what you're saying, but when you've worked that hard for that long, I don't think you're that picky, and you keep interviewing.
Right.
So that's where you lose me. Is you keep interviewing. If he wasn't interviewing, cool. But I think he interviewed for our offensive coordinator position today. Why are you even taking that interview? Like, that's below you.
He was on our list before we signed our offensive coordinator.
And if you know he's willing to take or listen to offensive coordinator positions, what organization is hiring an offensive coordinator before him? Like,
between him and Byron Leftwich, I'm not saying I don't see how anybody get jobs before these two.
It's wrong. That's really my takeaway. It's unfortunate for both of them. I do not think Leftwich was the problem in Tampa Bay this year, and boy, that team looks like a mess now. Arians moved upstairs. Leftwich is gone, and so is Brady. So man, what a quick change of scenery for Tampa Bay on a bunch of young 1-year deals. But yeah, that's really the gist of what I got for y'all. I do, before we get off of this football topic, I do have to ask. We mentioned Andy Reid. I remember Andy Reid in Philly. I remember him with Vic and McNabb. I remember the Super Bowl with T.O., and I remember them not getting it done. I've now seen him and Kansas City get it done twice and have a ton of success. Where do we have Andy Reid on the all-time coaching list? So we talking top 5, top 10, top 20? Where do we have to start putting his name with this second victory?
Without even thinking, he's in my top 5.
Without thinking, top 5.
Without thinking, he's in my top 5.
Hold on. Let's try and get some consensus here. If we're going top 5, so we got Vince Lombardi. He's in the top 5.
No comment.
No
Okay.
comment. What?
Okay,
You know he wasn't around when Vince Lombardi was.
Nobody was around, but he got the resume. What are we doing?
Okay,
You
sure.
know he don't really know about Vince Lombardi.
Oh, I know about him, but it's like putting all these guys from the 30s and these all-time lists.
I named one guy.
Okay, one guy, Vince.
Uh-oh.
Yes, Vince.
This
Bill.
conversation sound familiar.
All right, I'm gonna start. Vince Lombardi, Bill Belichick. That's 2.
Okay, so Mike Shanahan.
Give me Andy Reid.
Okay. Bill Cowher.
Andy Reid.
Ooh.
Hold up. I'm not even a Steelers fan, dog. I don't know about that.
I keep saying Jimmy Johnson.
Andy Reid.
You got Andy Reid over Jimmy Johnson for real?
Did I stutter?
Wow. Okay. All right. So okay. You are an Eagles fan. He used to coach there. I understand.
Thank you, Ray. It's about time you put 2 and 2 together.
I thought we were having a semi-objective conversation.
No.
Okay, so I get it. Top 5. Cool.
All right, on a serious note, this is something I would have to really look. Let me be serious real quick, Dev, before I give you a migraine. I was very much joking, but this is something I take top list serious. So I really got to go and do my research. As y'all know, I'm not old and got AARP like you guys. I'm not even 22 yet. So therefore, shots fired.
Oh, so that means you still got Similac on your breath. That's what you
Hey, kids these days, they might even have the good Similac. They had some other stuff.
In order for me to be objective, I have to do my research. So this is a question
there's a guy in Washington that was pretty good named Joe Gibbs. You should read about him too. He got.
I know about these guys, right? But it's just like when we make these lists, how much credit are we going to give? Like times have changed. Everything's changed.
I agree.
Can we make a list starting like it's just so much sports that's been played in the past 100 or so years? Somebody's feelings going to get hurt.
I mean, the list is going to always change. Like LeBron's knocked some people down the list in his ascent. Like,
I mean, obviously he's number 1.
There's people. The list is going to change. I was just saying where we going to reintroduce Andy Reid. Well, I was thinking top 10. Top 5.
10, yes. Top 10. Top 5 might be a stretch. I might be biased, but I think off my head I can say top 10, and that's a consistent answer.
I will say I would have a very easy argument. He's been top 5 in his era.
Yes.
Since this last 20 to 25 years, I got him, Belichick, and I think it's really them 2 at this point.
I would take Bill Cowher, also throw him in there.
In the last 20 years, I mean,
no, you know what? Because Bill Cowher
has been there for what, 10 years now, something like that.
No, Tomlin's been there for about 16. He's been there for a minute, because him and Harbaugh. I think he got Harbaugh by a year.
Harbaugh been there a minute too. Yeah,
Harbaugh has been there for about 14, 15. So
in the last 20, Pete Carroll's up there. But Andy Reid got 2 now, so I'm gonna give the nod. Pete Carroll should have 2, but he blew it.
Oh man, should have way more than 2, but we don't gotta talk about that. That's another day.
Yeah. Sean Payton only got 1, so I can't put him above Andy.
Hey, Sean Payton's coaching again. Let's ride.
Man,
you can't even put LaFleur up. I mean, LaFleur. He don't have none. McVay only got 1.
Yeah, so I think it's them 2 in the last 20. You can have Tomlin, but 2 mean something.
But Tomlin, I don't think Tomlin got a Super Bowl
in the last 20.
Yeah, Tomlin don't have. I don't think he had one. I think that was Bill Cowher.
No, he got one with Roethlisberger.
Tomlin, they beat the Cardinals.
The Cardinals, the James Harrison pick.
So who was the first? Who was that?
Because Ben got 2, right?
Yeah, it was Coward. Coward was the first.
He
I'm
got
pretty
1.
sure he was the
Who
coach.
did the
when they
Steelers
beat
facing that
Seattle.
first? Who the Steelers getting that first Super Bowl then?
They beat Seattle.
Okay, that's what it was. Because me and my homeboy was going. He is still a fan, and he was like, "Yo, I can't even remember." And I was like, "I know Coward don't have 2," and he was like,
They beat Seattle.
"I think Coward do have 2," but okay, so that makes sense. Okay, I thought Coward was on that Arizona team. Okay,
Nah, Mike got 1.
all right. So my
I
bad,
think
Mike.
it was him, and he was facing. Was it? It wasn't Denny Green. I thought he was facing a black head coach.
Nah, it was. Who was? I know they had Kurt Warner as the quarterback. Who was that? Who was that head coach on that?
I had no idea.
I don't know. So we could potentially look it up. But anyway, yeah. So I think for me, Andy Reid is definitely in that top 2 now. I think it's him and Belichick in this era, but all time, there's two ain't necessarily enough when you start talking all time. Chuck Noll and some other people might have some things to say when you start talking like that. So last question. More likely to return. We know what happens when you lose the Super Bowl. We know what happens when you win a Super Bowl. Kansas City has proven that they can get back. Philly, not so much yet. But if you had to bet based on team talent, coaching, division, everything included, who's more likely, do y'all think, to get back to the Super Bowl? Chris, I'll start with you.
Kansas City.
Y'all know I'm the most realistic Eagles fan y'all ever met. This is a team that has been in the AFC Championship game. It feels like every game for the past 5 years. They're always in the mix. They're always in the hunt. What they got and what they got over there in Kansas City, it works. It's proven that it works. They always getting close to that dance. You got a guy Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce who's proven to be arguably the best duo in the league. And I will say this: the reason why I'm skeptical with Philly is you lose both coordinators. You lose both of them. So if you ask me right now, as much as I love our head coach Sirianni, we lose both coordinators until those roles are replaced. Again, when those roles are replaced, and this is in preseason, my answer might be Philly. But you're asking me today, and right now I'm going with Kansas City.
Just to piggyback off the last conversation, Ken Wisenhunt.
Okay.
Was the Arizona head coach during that year.
He gone. And just real quick update, because I know they don't get a lot of credit. The Wizards have just completed a pretty big comeback tonight.
Yes, they did. I've been keeping up with it. That comeback was it showed me why I don't believe in Minnesota.
Bradley Beal put up I think he has like 15 now in the fourth, a little over 30 for the game. And
then I look at a guy Mike Conley who's playing 33 minutes and 0 points. What'd you trade for him for?
I mean, we knew that Minnesota was done when they made the deal they did. Like, you want to talk about game-changing trades.
He put up 6 shots, though.
But that's the thing. When I be saying some of those people ain't them, some people just ain't them, and he ain't him no more. He was cool in COVID playing horse, but when it come to the real, nah. Those days are past for him. So no, cool. You said Chiefs. Dev, who you got most likely to get back to the Super Bowl?
Hands down, it's the Chiefs. Hands down. It's no reason to even have this debate, man. We didn't already. I think all of us, except for Kenny, if I'm not mistaken, we all picked the different AFC West champ.
We did,
and you know what I mean. And the Chiefs shut us up. The Chiefs proved us wrong. They was like, we don't need Tyreek Hill. We don't need anybody that's felt like that's bigger than a team. As long as we got Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce is arguably the two greatest duo, right? Get ready to be the greatest two duo in NFL history. We don't really need nobody else. You know what I mean? And they keep showing it. And as long as they bring back the same coaching staff and Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy, why should we bet against them? Until proven otherwise, unless they have a injury riddled season. It's just Kansas City is the most promising team to make it back to the promised land.
Yeah. I am surprised how quickly y'all went with that. But I do agree. I think it's one of those situations where I feel about Mahomes like I felt about Brady. I'm done betting against him. I didn't bet against him, but like
you know I did. You know I did.
Oh. Well, I've been trying to tell you. I've been trying to educate you for a long time, Chris.
I mean, when I bet against Brady, that's the biggest come up in. You mean like that was easy money when I bet against Brady? Come on,
that must have been like a one-off. I don't know. I know.
I got taught to bet against him. I can tell you that.
Yeah, you might get them once or twice, but you're more likely than not, you're gonna lose money betting against those two guys. So yeah, I agree. I think, like I said, I think the contract situation makes things a lot more solidified. And for what it's worth, this Eric Bieniemy situation, I think just puts a battery in their back. It's like, God dang, we got to do it again. So I think he's going to come back more and more motivated. Like, if y'all don't want him to win, y'all not helping by doing what y'all doing. So shout out to the Wizards getting this dub tonight. Shout out to Mahomes and them getting the dub. Sorry, I have to ask this. Based on the numbers and what y'all saw, should Patrick Mahomes have been the MVP?
Super Bowl MVP?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say yes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say yes. He
yeah.
Because without him with that 40-yard scramble.
Thank you. That's what it was. That was.
I think that's what really saved him, because you had a guy that what I remember FanDuel had Patrick Mahomes. He was going to pass over 293, if I'm not mistaken.
You're not mistaken. Oh, trust me.
And I went under because I felt like
smart man.
He doesn't have to throw that many yards like what Jalen Hurts did. Jalen Hurts threw a smooth 300 yards, but with an L, versus Mahomes threw 238. But with that 40-yard scramble, we all thought he was done going into halftime. I was like, it's time for Chad Henne to come in. He's about to win his backup role right here. But you know, he came back in and made the plays that was supposed to be made. You know what I mean? Hit the throws that was supposed to have been hit. You know, so I still would give it to Patrick Mahomes. I don't think nobody else really stepped up to say, like, this is my MVP trophy.
I didn't hate it, but I would have liked to see Travis Kelce win it. I think we talk value. I think his value was immeasurable, especially in that first half, to keep the game close.
Mm-hmm.
Without him, I hear what Pacheco. I saw what Pacheco did late, but without Travis Kelce, I don't know. And Mahomes' numbers wasn't like that. Like,
right.
I get you, he had the nice run, maybe had the signature moment, but I thought from a value standpoint in that game specifically, I would have liked to see him lean on Travis, but I get it. I understand it. I wasn't shocked at all. I just would have liked to have seen it, just like it would have liked to have seen Justin Jefferson get more consideration this year for MVP.
Definitely.
But I get it. It's unfortunately the league and the marketing, and you want Patrick Mahomes as the MVP. Like, this will go down as one of those great seasons. Super Bowl MVP, regular season MVP, 13-4, all that. Beat the Eagles, a really good team. So this is definitely a legacy builder for Mahomes, and so I get it, the narrative and all that. But
do you think Travis Kelce would still have that first half if a backup quarterback would have came in?
I think Travis Kelce is the greatest tight end I've ever seen, so I think he can fit in any system.
Ooh, over Tony Gunzai?
Ooh, I gotta disagree.
I think he's the greatest Kansas City tight end. And I think he's the greatest tight end as an overall player, as an overall skill set, as an overall consistent player in regular season and postseason.
I'm not putting him over Gronkowski. That's me. I'm not putting him over Gronk.
I can't put him over Tony Gonzalez yet.
I can't put him over Gronk.
You can listen. Gronk played with a phenomenal quarterback. Travis Kelce played with a phenomenal quarterback. I think their career paths will be very similar, but Travis Kelce has stayed significantly healthier than Gronk has, and statistically, he's just better because he's played more.
Yeah. What about Gonzalez? We're gonna have to
How many rings Gonzalez have? How many?
No.
Travis Kelce might have more rings than Tony Gonzalez
playoff
wins.
I'm not gonna lie, you might not be wrong.
I give you that, but you gotta also
at some point you gotta contribute to like real winning.
Don't get me wrong, you got that one. But how I'm looking at it is when Gonzalez was playing with the Chiefs, who was their quarterback?
Thank you.
Hey, I get it.
Elvis Gerback doing them couple of years.
Hey, listen, if you're gonna sit up here and tell me that who were his quarterbacks, you can't also hype his numbers. If you're gonna say he had all these great numbers,
he made big numbers with the quarterbacks.
So if you were able to put up the numbers, where's the wins?
See now, and it's the team game. You know what I mean? Now the Chiefs now is a better team than the Chiefs was back then.
Hey,
coaching wise.
Let's not forget last year, Tyreek Hill walked out that door and pooped on it on the way out. Travis Kelce still had to step up with JuJu and Valdez-Scantling, and he was still the man.
Gonzalez was the man all those years in Kansas City. When he went to playoffs, they could barely get to the playoffs.
Well, that's whose fault is that?
That's Kansas City, or that's the GM. That ain't his fault. He got drafted there.
Hey, Shannon Sharp elevated his team. Rob Gronkowski elevated his team. Travis Kelce elevated his team.
Shannon Sharp had one of the greatest quarterbacks in Denver.
He did, and a great running back.
Gronk had the greatest quarterback in NFL history.
He did.
And Travis Kelce also is having the second best quarterback in NFL history. So
that's why Gonzalez numbers are better than Shannon Sharp's because he was the only target on that offense. You can't have it both ways.
You really putting Kelce over Gronk though? How you feel about that, Dev?
I'm not really a Gronk fan. I would take Travis Kelce over Gronk because Travis, I take Travis Kelce as a better route runner. I think Travis Kelce
17 touchdowns in one NFL season. That's all I'm going to say.
And was that the same season that he had Aaron Hernandez too? Because you got to think Gronk did play with another great tight end. Well, he did. A good tight end.
92 total touchdowns to 69, and he had I'm gonna shut up.
But you got to also remember Tom Brady only gets one target a year. So that means Gronk was his only target when it was doing those him and Gronk years.
Listen,
Wes Welker.
When you win, Wes Welker matters. Who's the other slot guy? Julian Edelman matters.
You know what I mean? So
Gronk is a better blocker.
Absolutely,
I give him that.
I'm going Gronk, maybe for another year or two, because we start talking about Super Bowl rings. Gronk got 4.
He does. The only reason this is a conversation is because of Gronk's playoff record. Like his playoff statistics are just.
See, that's a totally different. Yeah, that's totally different. You know what I mean? Because you gotta think you also caught Brady when he was in that AFC Championship in out of those 7, he got 6 when he was with the Patriots.
Almost double.
Kelce been in the AFC Championship since 2018?
And has there been a game he didn't show up?
I'm not saying he hasn't. Those words never. I'm not
going to say that because I felt like Travis Kelce at least got 75 yards or more each game.
I never uttered those words that Travis doesn't show up. Travis averages 86 receiving yards in the postseason.
So
them words that Travis doesn't show up, they didn't come from me. I'm just trying
to see what y'all saying.
I'm just saying you're asking me who I'm picking. I'm saying right now.
I'm choosing Travis between Gronk and Travis.
Gronk is still my guy.
Travis Kelce has never played less than 15 games in a season.
You're right.
Travis Kelce also had different rules.
They had the same rules as Gronk, man. What you talking
They
about?
changed the rule because of Gronk.
Listen, man. You trying to mess me up, Dev. This me versus Ray.
All right, I'm gonna
Give
be
Ray
quiet. I'm
thoughts.
sorry. Let me go ahead and cut my mute.
You're right. They did have different rules, and then Gronk got hurt, and they changed it. Now you can't go low on the receiver. That's a Gronk rule.
Exactly. Listen, the point I'm trying to make is, man, listen, it don't matter. I'm taking Gronk. I'm not anybody explaining myself.
You can have him, and that's not a bad alternate. Like, I hate when you have these conversations like the second guy's trash. No, he's super amazing. He's just not as good as that next guy. So I'm not saying
Right.
Gronk's not trash.
I don't think none of our answers is wrong of who we figure who's
Travis Kelce's the best. I think that's clear, bro.
That's in your eyes.
And I'm saying that today. Wait till they come back in the next 2 to 3 years and he keep putting up these crazy numbers. Please don't get hurt, Travis. Keep your and like I'm a big fan. Hopefully, he stays healthy.
I'm a fan of Travis Kelce too. One guy I just saw him dominate, and it just was mind blowing. Yes, yeah. I agree with that. 2-3 years, Travis gonna blow it.
I'll wait the 2 to 3 years to come back and say, "See, I told y'all."
I don't know why y'all just let Ray walk away with that. No, take that comment away. Don't let Ray. Don't let Ray. See, the thing about when y'all debate against Ray, man, y'all let Ray sneak in the back door and say, "All right, Ray, you cool." No, take that comment away, man. We ain't talking about 2-3 years later. We're talking about right now.
And I'm still right, but it's cool. It's cool. I love Gronk and everything he does. Keep being great. But I am remiss. We have to discuss it because it's only right. LeBron James.
The GOAT.
LeBron Ramon James. He did make some history. I did not see it. I was in another country and I was not staying up in the hopes that he would get 38 points because I wasn't confident in that. But he had
the headband on. I knew he was out for blood.
I mean, he invited.
He put up to the arena in that all black. Oh, I knew it was over. I told everybody.
He blew everybody out. I was pretty confident, but this award is not that significant for me, and I'll get to it in a minute. I don't want to be a hater of the moment. I don't want to ruin the moment. But
you already did now.
Get your hate out now, brother.
No. It's not hate because I'm really going to be congratulatory. These kind of awards, I don't know how much of it's greatness and how much of it's great health. That's my only issue.
What's the difference?
What do you mean? What's the difference? I've seen a ton of people that were really great, but they couldn't stay healthy, and so we were robbed of them.
He should get even more. He should get more props for being so great for so long because he's so healthy.
Listen, I don't want to argue against you. I don't want to take time to argue against LeBron today. This is LeBron's day. This is LeBron's moment. He broke the record. As LeBron fans, can you guys, as Dev,
the greatest player ever to wear number 23.
Oh, see, we got 30 minutes. I don't want to do this. I want to celebrate.
Oh my God!
You don't need to say crazy stuff
Let me
like
get my popcorn. Hold that thought.
I'll relax.
I feel like y'all two get ready.
I'm trying not to do it. I'm trying to celebrate LeBron. Okay. So, Dev, your thoughts on LeBron breaking this record and what does it mean for his legacy?
Shout out to him, number one. He most definitely well deserved. I think for his legacy, I don't really think it did too much because I think his legacy was already written.
That's why they booed him at the Super Bowl.
Pretty much, I think so. It's just like, don't get me wrong, LeBron. We expected LeBron to win almost at everything that he possibly come across. You know what I mean? He didn't win championships. He didn't took Cleveland out the dirt. He didn't
he put him in the dirt, but that's cool.
That too. He brought Miami to relevance. He gave LA another championship. You know, it's like he just keep on doing things. He's like, dang, this person didn't do this, this person didn't do that. But I just think that honestly, I would have never thought LeBron would have been an all-time scoring leader. Me personally. I just didn't think that he was scoring that much, honestly. I knew he was scoring, but I didn't know it was that much. In my eyes, I would have thought it would have been KD that becomes the all-time scoring leader. But as far as LeBron having it, man, that's a big accomplishment. I think that sets his legacy to a whole new another level where it's going to take another 30 to 40 years for somebody else to catch him. And I don't really see nobody in the NBA today that can even possibly even come close to catching LeBron, other than KD. But I don't think KD going to get to that top 5 category only because of injury. I think he had a lot of injury that held him back the last couple of years, and I think it's going to be, unless he can play a whole 82, which I doubt, because the way this load management is just starting to get ridiculous. I don't see nobody really catching him, so it's really going to take, hopefully, I'm just throwing his name out there, Bronny James, or another young guy that's coming out that's all about scoring, because as we starting to see it in the NBA, defense is starting to fade away like Jordan. So that's like the only way I can see somebody even catching them. But as far as right now, man, we gotta give it to him. He is the king. He should be crowned. He didn't do no wrong. He didn't cheat the game. He did it He did it the way that everybody wanted him to do it. He did it the right way, the positive way, and shout out to him, man. I don't really see nobody else catching him for the next 30, 40 years.
Okay, Chris.
Man, this guy had the most pressure in NBA history, and a guy getting drafted into the league. He was known for a while, for the most part of his career, as a passer, a guy that didn't have a killer instinct.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you look at his numbers, quietly averaging 27 on 4 or 5 less shots than your favorite superstar. LeBron is the best driver of the basketball of all time. He gets to the rim at will. And as of late, he added a 3-point shot. Not saying he's consistent, but he'll shoot 7 to 8 a game. Sometimes he'll hit 3, sometimes he'll hit 2, sometimes he'll hit none. But regardless, LeBron has found ways to elevate his game over the past years. And the fact that he's the all-time leading scorer, it doesn't shock me. When he says, if I wanted to, I can score 30, 35 every night. If you ever watch LeBron play, it's completely obvious how fast he switches his game to take over, to go on these quick scoring bursts. I mean, when he was playing for Miami, it was completely obvious how much he could dominate on the scoring level of the game. So the fact that he's the all-time leading scorer doesn't shock me. Do I think he'll get 40,000? Absolutely. LeBron James, this just, to me, stamped his legacy as the greatest in my mind. And everybody, I will not be mad if somebody else has a different all-time player. For me, it is LeBron James. I think he's the greatest of all time. I think if somehow, some way he's able to win another ring, that's only going to more solidify. Not saying his status as the GOAT isn't stamped, but if he's able to get 5, I think it's going to stamp it even more. You looking at a guy, I mean, you can't name a player that has more than 10,000 rebounds, points, and assists. Man has a career. Nobody else. He's the best all-around player to ever play the game. Top 10 in assists. I mean, like, this man is truly great. And the fact that
he was like number 4 in assists, number 8 in steals,
like top 10 in 3-pointers made, if I'm not mistaken. His playoff stats are unworldly. I mean, you're talking about a guy. Listen, LeBron's great. Not taking anything away from all the great ones before him. I'm not doing that. I don't do that. I don't, shit on the past. I just gotta acknowledge the present and talk about the future. And LeBron James is the present. I cannot wait to see what he does in the future. And shout out to the King.
We do know who likes to shit on the past, though.
Oh, of course.
Okay. Like I said,
here comes the pamper smear.
I think obviously it's a phenomenal accomplishment. I think it's a title or reign that will last for a long time, because I think we all can agree he's not close to being done. I think this is one of the greatest things we've ever seen. It's Brady-esque, in that although he's younger, he has to play both sides of the ball. And granted, he don't play a lot of defense and hasn't for a long time. He still has to be out there. So his longevity, I think, for me, is the biggest, I guess, congratulations to him, is his ability to do what no one else has done, is because he was able to play in an era that was friendly enough to his skill set, and he just took the necessary steps to take care of his body. I'm not going to woulda, shoulda, coulda if Jordan didn't retire, if threes were different, if like all that Kareem, if Kareem was a big man today and shot more threes, I think Kareem hit like 1 3 in his career. So yes, the game is different. You can score more points on less shots when you can shoot more threes. Like, that's just science. But a phenomenal accomplishment. I look forward to more. I think 40,000 is his next goal. I don't think he has to prove anything to anyone, especially not in his own mind. I do believe in his own mind. He does believe, or keeps convincing himself that he believes he's the greatest ever. And statistically, when you look at this in 50 years, you'll probably have no doubt Michael Jordan's stats will be so far removed from the top of these lists that if you weren't there to see it and experience it, then it won't matter. So that I do believe long term the stats will be viewed different, because that's how we look at stuff today. The nuance is often left out in a lot of these conversations. So shout out to him, his family being there, just a model citizen from really everything we've ever heard out of him. So just shout out to LeBron. Shout out to LeBron. Definitely a memorial moment. It would be nice if he did some of these moments and wins, but in an attempt to not even really be shady, in a way that kind of is fitting sometimes. Like, that is one of the knocks on him, is the losses in the big moments. So even in some of these big games where he accomplishes great things, they keep losing. For whatever reason. I'm not going to Tony Gonzalez them, but they just lose. And I don't know. So that's my 2 cents on it. Phenomenal accomplishment. Shout out to him and his family, and more to come. More to come. And I think we all agreed that nobody will pass it anytime soon. KD's not going to stay healthy enough. And now in Phoenix, which we'll get to, actually Phoenix is on. He's not playing tonight.
No, he's not playing yet. They saying KD won't play until after the All-Star break.
Oh, okay. So is my man playing tonight?
Who, the Aiden?
Yeah, he had a big game the other night.
I think he is.
Okay.
Oh, he's playing right now. He's
okay.
playing.
Oh, you better.
He got 6 points right now, 4 rebounds,
6 and 4 off to a fast start. So exciting times for Mr. Aiden. But Devin Booker being back changes everything. So we already proved that Aiden can't carry a team, which is why they made the trade. So yeah, I wanted to get to the trade deadline. DeAndre Ayton did not get moved. Zach LaVine did not get moved. DeMar DeRozan did not get moved. Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant did get moved. So just initially, takeaways from this year's trade deadline. I'll start with you, Chris.
I said on the show before, and I'll double down. The Brooklyn Nets, in the past about 10 to 15 years, have been the worst franchise in the NBA. This is the second time they went out and traded for 3 guys. The first time they did it, they got some older guys. They tried to put together a big 5. They do it this time. They trade for 3 guys in their prime. Look how it worked out. Luckily, you were able to get some nice young players back, but I don't see a franchise being any relevant as far as winning for a long time. That franchise, to me, leadership, ownership, management, they are F. They have nobody but to blame but themselves. It's their fault why this is like this right now. And so I don't want to hear nobody blaming Kyrie, blaming KD, blaming Harden. No, you need to blame the coaching staff, the management, to hire the coaching staff, and ownership to hire the management, because all of it is shitty. Excuse my language. Now, let's talk about this trade deadline. I start off with the Bulls. The fact that they weren't buyers nor sellers tells me they don't know what to do with that team. I don't know why they think currently constructed they compete, especially without Lonzo Ball. This team to me is a head scratcher. They compete when they want to compete. They barely play any team defense. Every time I see the Bulls playing, I say, "Oh, the next team star player is going to score as much as they want." I'm very shocked about what the Bulls did. I'm shocked about what the Raptors did. They didn't make any moves. To the positive, let's talk about the Mavs. I mean, yeah, they're going to play no defense. They weren't playing defense before, but we said Luka needs another guy, and Kyrie's that guy. Yes, you have no wing defense, but I mean, and to the people that real quick, to the people that say that know nothing about basketball, that say that you got two ball dominant guys, it's not going to work. Kyrie wants the ball so much. Like, have y'all not watched Kyrie play? He played with Lebron, who was just as ball dominant as Luka, and still was an all-star, all-NBA caliber type of player. Then he went to Boston. Yes, he had the ball in his hands more, but he still played with a Brown and a Tatum. Then he played with KD and James Harden, was the quote-unquote third option. He knows how to score. He doesn't need 1,000 moves to dribble. Like, he doesn't need 1,000 dribbles to score. He can score with 3 to 5 dribbles. That goes to show me people don't know nothing about basketball. This duo, once they figure out how to work, they're going to be scary. Once they figure out how to play some defense or get some guys that can play defense, it's going to be the team to look at. And I say this about Phoenix, so I won't, be a guy talking for so much. KD, but you got to win a championship this year or something's up. You go to Phoenix, and if the fact that Phoenix were able to keep Chris Paul, Devin Booker, and DeAndre Ayton and land Kevin Durant, I mean, this is a team right now that, when healthy, is going to be a force to be reckoned with. And if I'm the Phoenix Suns should be considered, in my opinion, the favorites out the West. I'm not saying they're my favorites, but if you look at them on paper, you got a Chris Paul Hall of Famer, Devin Booker, a top 5, top 3 at his position, just led his team to the finals. You got Kevin Durant. This team is no reason why this team isn't successful unless it's health. But if they're fully healthy, they should be on paper the team to come out the West. Like they had 4 all-stars or perennial all-stars right now. You got all NBA talent. Like this team on paper is loaded. So yeah, in my opinion, the Suns, they did an excellent job. The Mavs did an excellent job. But some teams I wish that would have made more moves. But hey, it was a good deadline.
Put the name on that bullet.
Huh?
Who didn't make the moves?
Oh, I said it earlier. Chicago, Toronto. They didn't. I feel like the Grizzlies. I mean, I picked them to win a championship, and they made no moves.
I'm glad you got there. Because
that's the team I didn't talk about. Actually, I let Dev talk about them. The Lakers. I think the Lakers had an A+ trade deadline by far. I love the moves that they made. I think when I look at them right now, listen, healthy, and it's that word that you hate, right? Healthy. But listen, we got to insert it right here. Healthy. Man, the Lakers are scary. They got back to the team that won a championship. Your 2 superstars in LeBron and AD, and shooting and defense surrounding them. And that was how they won a championship. And I think they put a team like that back together, and I think they're going to make noise.
What does make noise? How far?
Like I said, when that word health comes to play, but honestly, healthy. I mean, I think they compete. I think they can compete with any team in the West.
So they are a championship contender in your mind.
I 100% believe if they're able to make it into the playoffs, I think they can. Again, the word healthy. I got to throw this out there to make sure you know I'm talking about healthy, because with Anthony Davis, he can get plucked and miss 25 games. Healthy, they can compete with anybody in the West, and I believe that.
Okay. Just completely off base, the San Antonio Spurs have lost 14 games in a row.
Say it again.
The San Antonio Spurs have lost 14 games in a row. I know we give Pop a lot of credit. He's been terrible for the last couple of years, and nobody talks about it because he's Pop, but they've been trash for a long time.
They're tanking. They're not trying to win.
It's been years. Unacceptable. If that was Phil Jackson, if that was Red Auerbach, if that was some of these other top coaches, they would have been fired.
I mean, you don't fire Pop because look what he's done with the team. And I see what you're saying, but I think they don't fire him because I don't think they have their replacement ready, or maybe he's going to the management. I say this: they're going for
I don't know how
They're
to
not
say his
going to be good
name.
for a long time.
Of course, they're going for Victor right now, and I think they suck. Obviously, the roster's trash. Yeah, I mean, what are we talking about? They suck. I don't even want to mention Pop because Pop is one of the greatest, if not, no, he's not the greatest of all time, but one of the greatest coaches of all time in NBA history. He's doing the best he can do with this trash roster. Like, I don't see any coach coming in right now coaching his team and making them any better. Who do they have?
Nah, they shipped everybody out. I'm with you. I'm
Yeah.
with you.
So, and I understand what
I'm
you're
not just
saying.
talking about this year. It's been a minute.
And they've been trash for him. And they have no
They had DeJounte and Kawhi. They
haven't had Kawhi since what, 2018?
But I think they was a play-in when he had LaMarcus Aldridge and DeMar DeRozan, if I'm not mistaken. I think
No, they didn't even have playing back then. They were in the playoffs.
It wasn't a play. I thought they was, or they might have been fighting to get in the play. It was something in that. It was either they was fighting to get into that last position, or it was something like that. But most definitely, they haven't been good.
They've been good since 2018.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. That is all I'm saying. He's been getting the pass, and y'all can sugarcoat it however you want, but they've been bad for a long time. And without Tim Duncan, he ain't looked like much of a coach in a lot of ways. But shout out to him and his political stances. So biggest winner. Oh, Deb, I don't think I got your takes on the trade deadline. Biggest winner and just your overall takeaway.
Biggest winner, Lakers.
Of course.
No, it's I'm not being biased on this.
So from now on, can we end all this fire Rob Pelinka? He's overmatched. He don't know how to do the job since we giving him all this credit for this trade deadline now. Or is LeBron?
He get another year on this deal
because I've been telling y'all for a long time he's been working with nothing and making magic happen.
Yeah, I give him another year. He most definitely get another year with this trade deadline. Chris kind of said it. With your two scores, you added pieces that you really need. Number one, we is no longer guard heavy. Thank God, boy. But we had like 7 guards. You know what I mean? Like, golly, we had Russ, Pat Beverly, Kendrick Nunn, Austin Reeves, Dennis Schroeder. You know what I mean? Like, we had nothing but guards. So eventually, defense was not gonna get played. You know what I mean? I don't know. Even though I think that was you built the team off of nothing. You know what I mean? That's just the guys that you can build with during that time. But during this trade deadline, like I just said, Rob gave himself another year because you gave us a point guard. You know what I mean? A decent point guard who can play with LeBron and AD. In my nature, I think D'Lo is an underrated point guard that he doesn't get a lot of shine because once he left Brooklyn, when he was the All-Star in Brooklyn, he went to Minnesota to a team that really was underachieving. We really ain't had no goal there for real. It was just make it to the playoffs and that's it. Let's try to make some noise. You know what I mean? And when they did make it to the playoffs, D'Lo had a solid playoff resume with Minnesota also. So you got a point guard that's able to run in a system. Then you get Malik Beasley, which is a decent shooter, which the Lakers been needing all year, is a decent 3-point shooter. Then you go get Jared Vanderbilt, who's clearly my man wants to play defense. He just want to hoop. He just had to be on a winning team, it looks like, because he most definitely can play that 3 to that 4 position. And that's what the Lakers kind of need, is some type of size down there with AD. Because even though I was a little upset that they traded Thomas Bryant, because he was most definitely playing great minutes, throwing up nice numbers while AD wasn't there. But you get a Mo Bamba who's kind of trying to revamp his career, and who's the better to do it with LeBron and AD, because LeBron can most definitely find you, can get you into a scoring position. It's up to you to actually score. And I think that's what Mo Bamba was failing in Orlando. Nobody was putting him in a good position for him to succeed. Now that he's in a bigger market, bigger stage, now is pressure is pretty much on Mo Bamba to actually show that he's a decent big man in his league. And the Lakers most definitely that's what we need. I still give us play-in contention because number one, there's only 23 games left. And out of those 23 games, you have to win between 16 and 17. That's the number for you to even sniff the playoff. So if you can't win 15 to 17 games, that means you might be knocking on the play-in door. And if you're knocking on that play-in door, you might get a team like a New Orleans Pelicans or Oklahoma City Thunder, who's both of these teams are young, scrappy, and already show you that they already have the upside to them. So I'm just gonna get the Lakers a play-in chance right now still because only how many games is left. I think it's gonna be a late start to try to say they're gonna solidify a playoff spot, but most definitely they're gonna be a solidified play-in. As far as the Suns and the Mavs, I just think that they gave away too many depth on their bench to get these key players. I think that's going to show up in deep into the playoff run. As far as the Suns, you gave away Cam Johnson and Markel Bridges, one of your top two defenders that was on your team. And now that you gave those two key pieces away, it's like you only going to be relying on that big four for Phoenix. And health, as we keep talking about, health can most definitely bite those three out of the four. It bit Chris Paul the last playoff times. It's starting to bite Devin Booker, and for the last couple of years, KD has been bit with the injury bug. So now you don't want to rely because I don't think nobody on this panel believes in DeAndre Ayton enough for him to lead you in the playoffs. The Mavericks, they most definitely don't use their big men. Yet I have not seen Christian Wood or JaVale McGee has played solid minutes on Dallas. I don't know if it's injury or they don't fit the coaching style, or I don't know.
Wood been injured because when he's healthy, he's in that late game lineup.
Okay.
He's been putting up. He's been doing exactly what I thought he'd do this year. He's just he may been missing some games due to injury. He missed double-digit games due to injury.
So, but health-wise now, that's death. You already lost Jalen Brunson. That was the guy coming off the bench. You lost Spencer Dinwiddie. That guy was coming off your bench. So, right then and there, it's going to come down to death. And I understand that it was take a lot of offensive pressure off of Luka. But now, if Christian Wood can't play that big man, it's like now you're going to be dependent on Luka and Kyrie to play defense on the tail end. And you don't want them to carry the offense and carry the defense. But another team that did it good in the trade is the Clippers. Kinda, they got Eric Gordon.
More than kinda.
You know what I mean? They got rid of some pieces like who I didn't see him leaving. They got rid of John Wall, who I didn't see leaving. But in those return, they got Eric Gordon, who's a 43% 3-point shooter. So that means that's going to spread the floor out for Kawhi and PG now. So gotta most definitely see how that trade gets. That trade gets in. But also my last thing, the Nets. I don't think the Nets got a bad deal in this trade, even though they didn't get a big superstar name. They did get a lot of depth. Like they got like at least a 3-man rotation team over there because they automatically already still had like a Seth Curry already on that team. And now you had a Spencer Dinwiddie, you had a Finney Smith, you had a Cam Johnson, you had a Markel Bridges, and a ton load of draft picks. You know what I mean? I wouldn't sleep on Brooklyn yet. It just, like y'all said, management has to be better. You know what I mean? The GM, I'm not going to knock Jacques Vaughn because I think he's doing one hell of a job of coaching with
Me neither. If I said something bad about him, it was previous coaching. Not current coaching. Current coaching, he did his thing this year. Previous coaching.
Jacques Vaughn is most definitely doing his best with everything he's been dealt with, whether it's the drama, whether it's the Steve Nash turmoil, or he's handling it. And whether we like it or not, the Brooklyn Nets are still top 5 in the East. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to say that Brooklyn got the raw end of the deal on this trade. I just think that they just didn't get a superstar. And without them getting a superstar, we kind of just wrote them off. But as far as depth, they got depth, man. They can go different lineups, different night. So it's just up to Jack Bron to put it in the best lineup. That's what I got out of the trade deadline.
And I like a lot of y'all takeaways. One team I'm going to mention that didn't do anything that I think really missed is Golden State.
Well, they did do a trade, but Gary Payton, I don't know. Did that trade even stay through?
Nah, they stuck with it.
Okay.
Memphis, Golden State, I think they missed the boat. In Denver, I don't like what Denver did at giving away Bones Highland for basically nothing. I don't know why that didn't fit. I've been a fan. What'd you say?
They got Thomas Bryant. They got somebody to back up Jokic. I guess.
I didn't
from the reports I read, Ray. You know, I was because I was looking into it because Bones is a Delaware guy, and the reports I read, you know, I read one thing saying that the team made him fly a coach to games, which is crazy. And I was hearing he was a little bit unhappy with his role. But I'll say this: him going to the Clippers after the Clippers gave up 2 of their point guards, to me is great. They got no more Reggie Jackson, no more John Wall. You know, he's a shooter. You got 2 guys in Paul George and Kawhi Leonard who's going to create opportunities for others because how much they're going to take the defense. So I think he's
low management.
So I don't know. I think Golden State has an issue, and I know they want to be loyal, but the values are dropping on everybody. So
do you think Golden State got money to do moves though?
Hell no. They gotta get rid of Draymond.
You got a Clay problem, you got a Draymond problem, and you got a potential Andrew Wiggins problem because he's.
I would say Clay. I would say Draymond first. Clay was hooping this year.
When? What is hooping?
You not just see Clay put up 40-something? Clay is beginning to find his shot while Steph Curry isn't here. I'm telling you, that second half of the season to me is going to show a lot. It's either going to show, am I right or are you right? But I think Clay has found, you know, his stroke in the past 20-odd games.
Okay, so we're going to disagree on that.
And that's smart. You know, I'm never mad with a little disagreement.
I don't even know what that means. I know if Steph ain't there, that team's going nowhere. So you can Klay Thompson, Andrew Wiggins, Draymond Green me, Jordan Poole me. What's the other guy? Gary Payton, the fourth me. If Steph ain't back,
you mean the second?
He's the second. Whatever he is. You can second, third, fourth.
No man said the fourth me, right? Don't went to the great grandson.
I stand by what I said.
Okay. Well, stand by this. In January, he averaged 22 points. Right now in February, January, I'm sorry, he averaged 27 points. Right now in February, he's averaging 23 points on both above 43% from the three-point line, hitting about 5 a game. So you mean to tell me that's not the Klay Thompson that we're used to seeing in 2023?
What's their record?
What does that have to? But how is this Klay's fault? When has Klay ever been? When have we ever said Klay can carry a team to wins?
People tell me that all the time.
I say he could be a difference maker.
Top 75 mean you should be carrying a team.
Oh well, then that's not how.
If you talking Hall of Fame, top 75,
I never viewed Klay Thompson as the number one guy to carry a team.
Did.
Well, I'm not a whole lot of you should know I don't agree with what a whole lot of people say, right? How many times
asking me though? You asking me who's saying that? I'm saying there are people that was telling me he's a Hall of Famer, top 75. When I asked, is Klay a Hall of Famer without Steph? I got shouted down how disrespectful that question was. So if
that between you and Kenny that night.
No, I took it to Facebook. I didn't just leave it there. And people explained to me how great Klay Thompson is. So if Klay Thompson is great, then you should be carrying a team to wins. That's my issue with Ayton. That was my issue with, I forget who we was talking about earlier. Are you carrying your team to wins? These are phenomenal basketball players. Putting up stats is not, I'm not going to say it's easy, but when you're as good as these players are, you can go get 40. We've seen people go get 50, 60, 70. So, yes, he can give you a game. He's going to average 22, but averaging 22 in this NBA today is not saying a lot. Not as a guard. Jalen Brunson been cooking. Like, don't talk to me about Klay Thompson when I got a bunch of other two guards. I got Donovan Mitchell, Devin Booker. I'm watching two guards. The Klay Thompson ain't them.
But his averages has been 20 when they were winning championships. What's the difference?
They were winning championships. That's what you just said. That's a huge statement.
So you mean to tell me Klay Thompson's the reason why this team's not winning?
I think he's not the reason they are winning.
I mean, when you don't have your best player, you're not going to win. I mean, that's common knowledge.
Memphis won without their best player.
That's true. Memphis has a better overall team. Then why else they win if they don't got a better overall team?
Come on now. Don't do that.
Why else they winning?
We watched Golden State play Memphis. So how can you say they have a better overall team?
So you take out Ja, you take out Steph. Like you just said, who's winning and who's not winning?
I still pick Golden State to beat Memphis.
But didn't hold on, timeout. Didn't Golden State beat Memphis without Steph early in the year?
They have. They own Memphis. That's why I said I'm taking Golden State regardless.
Yeah, listen, I don't know, Chris. I can't ride with you on this one, buddy.
That's
gotta get
solo.
Kawhi's been down for a long time. The Clippers still was relevant. Like you can win without your best player.
So the Warriors not relevant.
I'm saying Klay Thompson ain't Klay Thompson that y'all trying to make him out to be. And I like Klay Thompson, and I don't want to be that guy. I saw what happened when Indiana lost Tyrese Halliburton. They fell off a cliff.
All I'm saying is if I'm looking at reasons why, and I'm looking at guys to get rid of, Klay Thompson is last
Should have
on
been
that
at the
list.
top of that list.
You said who?
He should have been at the top of the list for the very reasons you're talking about. He has the most trade value.
Okay, well, I see what you're talking about there, but if you're talking about trying to keep the team together and who you want to get rid of first is Draymond and it's Wiggins.
No, Draymond.
Why are we getting rid of Wiggins? Hold on. Why are we getting rid of Wiggins?
Almost the Finals MVP just last year.
Yeah, why are we getting rid of Wiggins? I'm not understanding this.
That's not named.
Now, if we get rid of Wiggins
and plays better defense.
If we getting rid of Wiggins just because of we can get back and trade picks and stuff like that, all right. But as far as because he's having a down year, we can't get rid of Wiggins.
The point I'm trying to make is my initial point is, so let me not get off track. Klay Thompson is having a phenomenal year after he was questionable last year. You making that face. I mean, you just named 30 guys in the West.
You said phenomenal.
Well, James Harden not an all-star either, so
don't because he's not having a phenomenal year. Ain't nobody having a phenomenal year that's not an all-star.
I mean, look, we said all them years that Klay was all-star, all NBA, they were phenomenal. His numbers are the same. So I'm just maybe I should have used a different word.
Don't we? Because they wasn't me.
Maybe I should have used a different word.
I think Klay Thompson is a great role player.
Oh, Lord.
I've never said Klay Thompson can go be a number one anywhere.
Okay.
Not this late in his career. Not this late. I say
think
maybe
he couldn't have did what Donovan Mitchell did in Utah.
What did Donovan Mitchell do? We talk about winning. What did they win?
He got that team to a playoffs, and and I feel like they overachieved on a number of occasions.
All right, man.
I don't think Klay Thompson had that. I think Klay Thompson is close to a Bradley Beal. He can get a pretty good team into the playoffs, but they're not going to get you a championship. I don't think he's that caliber of player. That's my opinion. At any point in his career. He was never a one to me. And I think Golden State has an opportunity to move some of those players because you got a Dante DiVincenzo who's been shooting better and playing better than I thought he would. You got Gary Payton back. You got Jordan Poole. You don't need Klay Thompson. You have Andrew Wiggins. You got a max player, that is not a max player, and you can't use him. Move him. You know how many teams could have used a shooter, and you could have got draft picks or youth back. I just think it was a miss. I do think Washington missed out on trading Kuzma. I don't think he's coming back. I think it's going to be a rebuild, and I think you should have got the value for him.
Mm-hmm.
The East
is Kuzma contract up this year?
I think he's free this offseason.
Okay.
But I look at the East, you ain't beating Boston, and you're not beating Milwaukee, and you're not beating Cleveland. So what are we doing?
You left the team out, but it's okay.
There's more teams that I could add. Those are just the top three.
No, he just wants you to say Philly. That's
100%.
He just wants you to say Philly.
That's all it was.
For what is worth, I don't know if I have Philly in that class of two of those teams, but
real quick, while we on basketball, the Clippers and the Phoenix Suns are tied 52-52. Kawhi Leonard's 8-7.
But it's,
shout out to Paul George. That's all I wanted to say.
I mean, the Clippers were up in this game, but they just been making dumb plays.
Yeah,
like,
and Dev, you talked about depth, and I didn't want to cut you off, but not to say these are great depth guys. Now he's 0 for 8. Jeez, Louise. Not to say these are great depth guys, but when I look at you bringing in a Terrence Ross off the bench, to me that could be a spark as far as scoring. T.J. Warren, who can score as a wing, and you got Damian Lee, who can score as a wing. Then you got Josh Ogie, and you got Craig. Not saying these are great guys or comparable to Michael Bridges.
Angel blew a layup.
But these are bodies that can fill the need.
Here's my issue when people do that, and we can get ready to get out of here. Depth is great. Depth is a lovely word that people love to use.
You only need 9 games in the playoffs, 8 to 9.
That's my point. When you get to the playoffs, all that depth don't really matter. It's who you got that's playing consistently. Yeah, it'd be great if you get a role player to step up for a game or two. But half them people you just mentioned will not be a factor on if they win a championship or not. If they play amazing and KD and Devin Booker don't play good, they ain't going nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
So I hear all the depth talk. Boston got depth. Everybody got depth. If your depth plays great and your stars don't, you ain't going nowhere.
Unless you go to state.
True.
If
Steph shoot 3 for 20, I don't really care. You might get a game. You ain't winning this series.
I'm not saying that they can win a 7-game series like that. You know what I mean? Of course, you're gonna need Steph to be Steph, but I believe that the Warriors showed that them having depth on the bench behind Steph and Clay and Dre, you know what I mean, kind of saved them early in their championship run. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'll give you that.
But as far as what I was saying about depth was, after you leave those 4, you know, KD, Booker, Paul, and Ayton, now it's like, if one of them get hurt, can you rely on a
3 of them got injury histories?
Right. Can you rely on Warren to be the guy that can score? Can you rely on Terrence Ross consistently to keep scoring? You know what I mean? That's what I mean. It's like, you know what I mean? You gave away. Honestly, if you was gonna give away Michael Bridges, I wouldn't have gave away Cam Johnson. You know what I mean? You can't take both of my defenders. You know, I'm gonna need one, because now when it comes down to playing a Giannis or playing a Jason Tatum, you know what I mean, or even a Luka, is like, what body can you really put on these guys consistently? That's going to be able to stay in front of them, and if you get them in foul trouble or injury trouble, who can you throw in next? You know, that's what I mean by depth. I ain't talking about you gotta be 11-man strong, but after your top 4 3, are you strong after that?
And I think we'll see that. But a lot of time, a lot of gelling that's gonna have to happen on the fly. That I feel like they all can play together, but I think Chris Paul is best with the ball in his hand. Devin Booker best with the ball in his hand. KD can play off the ball, but down the stretch is when we're gonna really get to see who has the ball in their hand at the end of the games.
That's gonna be a pick and pop on KD and Chris Paul all day long. I can tell you all All those screens that Aiton was setting, he is no longer get ready set no more. He might as well just be down there with his hands up.
That's a max paperweight.
I could just see it now, man.
He gonna be down there like this.
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
y'all see me?
You think Kevin Durant or Devin Booker is giving him the ball at the down the stretch of a playoff game?
You think Monty Will's going to let them come? It's going to be Devin Booker or
it
KD.
might be Bismack Biyombo in the game. I didn't see him do that a couple times, and I don't know why they like him so much. And somebody mentioned JaVale McGee earlier. I don't know why he don't get to play. I've liked him since he was in Washington.
I liked him
in Golden State. I liked him in LA. He is valuable. I don't know why or what happens in practice because he keep getting signed and traded for, but people don't play him. But too often when I see him play, he plays his role well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if Shaq's the problem with the stigma from the past, but I think he's an underutilized asset on the teams he's been on, specifically Dallas right now. But
I'm with you on that one.
Yeah, man, it's glad to be back. Glad to have you all, Chris. I know you're at school. You told us you was Phillying, so hopefully y'all start chiefing. And I mean winning in your track meets and all that. So appreciate you coming on, man.
Like that.
I don't.
Dev, I hope y'all get a quarterback, but I hope it ain't the one y'all got, so we can get him.
Damn.
When does NFL free agency start? Anybody know that off the top of their head?
No, but I got my laptop right here.
I believe it's next month because I believe the calendar. I believe the calendar league.
It's before the draft, right? Free agency is before the draft because the draft's in April.
So I think it's next month, if I'm not mistaken. Because I think the new calendar year starts over for the NFL next month.
I think March 1st, maybe that might be right. I'm not sure. But yeah, as we lead up to it, we got All-Star game this upcoming weekend. So
March 15th. March 15th.
Oh, that's soon.
Okay.
That's less than a month. Less than 30 days. Okay. Like less than a month. Let's go, baby.
Here we go.
Let's go.
Listen, and these top guys, real quick, you got Lamar, you got Jonathan Hargrave, you got Jesse Bates. Woo, you got Levante David. Woo. Orlando Brown.
Tampa Bay, I think gonna get picked apart.
Easily.
I think it's gonna be a couple teams with some big players.
I think Keenan Allen is gonna get released for charges this year.
If you got Keenan Allen, DeAndre Hopkins, Cooper got paid. I think it's enough. Just Jefferson got paid. So it's a cup. Cooper Kupp got paid. Odell will still be out there. Has Debo got paid yet? Do we know if he?
Yeah, Debo got paid.
So I think the receiver market might be a little tight. So that means they might get overpaid again. Christian Kirk. We all have not Justin Blackman. God. What's the guy that bet that'll be coming back?
Calvin Ridley.
Calvin Ridley will be back. Shout out
to he did his appeal yesterday.
Oh well, good luck. That was dumb. Yeah. They need to move on. Let that man play. That was corny.
Yeah,
let him gamble. Who cares? Y'all refs clearly gambling on the game. So why the play?
That's another topic.
We're gonna deal with referees probably next week because
let's talk about it. Yeah, we need to talk about
some of these refs. Something has to happen. Adam Silver just came out, I saw, and said that referees are punished in private. Now we need if refs blow it, they need to be. I want to hear about their punishments. I want to hear about their fines. And I agree. I think Draymond said it. Refs should do post-game news conferences.
Oh, yeah.
They should have had this stand in front of them Philly fans and explain what they called and why they called it. I agree it was the right call, but you need to sit there and answer for that. If Bradbury got to answer for it, you got to answer for it. Like, we'll it's too late. It's 11:15. We'll get to refs later. But before we go, any parting shots, Chris? Anything you got to get off your chest or just want to tell the people?
Live life the best you can live it. Live life like a Phillies fan. Live life
like cars before the game.
Huh?
By flipping cars before the game? Seems
Listen,
like
you gotta do what you gotta do to be great. In all seriousness, I'm about to go on spring break. About to go celebrate. I'm gonna be in Baltimore, Dad, for CIs.
Hey, hit me up.
All right,
hit me up.
I ain't too far.
I don't want to hit you up, Ray.
Oh man. Dang. I understand.
Talk about shoot the man while he down.
I understand. It's cool. I'll probably be traveling anyway.
It's cool, man. I hit you up, Ray. I hit you up.
Yeah. We gotta get to a Defenders game or some XFL game. We'll figure something out.
Man, we supposed to went to it. What you come?
I know, man. The tickets they sold all them. They didn't have no more of them tickets.
Actually,
them jokers sold out.
Which team you think gonna draft well and win the All-Star game?
All-Star game is this weekend.
Sunday.
Yeah.
LeBron. They always win.
Yeah.
But LeBron. I don't know who else playing. So that'll be the other thing. If KD ain't playing, because I remember he didn't play one All-Star game.
KD not playing. He pretty much great give up his spot.
I got a list for you.
Once I know the real pool, because if the second best player ain't playing on one team, they're at a significant deficit. So if LeBron and Giannis or LeBron and Steph or whoever, I just think LeBron's team gonna win if he ends up with the first pick like usual. So we'll see. I still don't know if he should be in the All-Star game, but we don't gotta have that conversation right now. Just reward losing at its finest. Dev, before we go, what you got for us?
Check me out. I always check my podcast out. I just released my 97th thought talking about LeBron James becoming the scoring title leader, the Pro Bowl, NFL honors, the trades. You can check me on all majority of all the podcast platforms. Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Newsly, Good Pod, stuff like that. Yeah, just check me out.
All right, bet. Definitely do that. Same on my side, the Bond Chronicles live and popping. A bunch of international content available on our Patreon, $5 a month for a sandwich. For a $5 footlong, you can get a month's worth of content. Great information over there. We're also on YouTube, doing big things. We are on, I think, episode like 75 or 76. But so much other free stuff over there, as well as some dope behind-the-scenes investing stuff. We're getting into Black trauma and the Black community over there, as well as some sports stuff. So definitely check us out Mondays at noon on YouTube. Patreon is throughout the week, typically a new episode every Thursday at noon as well. So definitely check us out. Chris, more respect to you as you go on spring break. Dev, keep your head up. We will see y'all, should be on Monday to recap everything. And Kenny, prayers with you. Keep your head up, man. Can't wait to have you back on so we can get back into this trash talk. And yeah, y'all be easy and have a great evening, everybody.
Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays.